Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris. I was born in one of 10 kids to a German Catholic family. I have 3 older brothers, 3 younger brothers, and 3 younger sisters. My job was to help Mom take care of my younger siblings. Nobody asked me if I wanted to do it. I did not want to do it. I grew up pissed. Actually, though, thinking back, I believe I was born restless, irritable, and discontent. It's just by nature. I started smoking cigarettes at 11. I started smoking pot at 14. At 16, I had my wisdom teeth extracted, and I got to try painkillers for the first time, and I was sold. I never looked back after that. I couldn't wait to get out of that house because I knew the house was my problem. But when I got out of the house, I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to do. And so I just started pinging. And I spent 26 years of my life doing that, trying to figure out what it was I was supposed to be doing here on this earth and not having a clue. And so I just continued to do drugs and drink alcohol because that was the only way I could feel anything besides fear and anger. When I was 30 years old or so, I realized to myself that I had a problem, but to everybody else I did not have a problem. And I was going to quit. I was always going to quit. Next day, after this, after that, next day. Tomorrow was always a good day. And when I was pushing 40, I realized that nothing was going to change. I could not do it on my own. And so I woke up another morning, condemned to another day, and I said, help me. And I did not know who or what I was asking for help from. I only knew that I could not do it on my own. In real short order, I ended up in rehab, which is not exactly what I had in mind, but that's where I ended up. And I started to learn about the disease of alcoholism, the disease of addiction. And I realized I was taught to believe everything that I believed growing up, and so I could relearn. And what I learned right off the bat was that I was not a bad person trying to get good. I was a sick person trying to get well. And that changed everything for me. I was going to commit suicide before I got into rehab because I figured that was the only way out. Every day I'd leave rehab, I'd say, okay, I'll come back again tomorrow. And I could always kill myself later. And tomorrow became tomorrow, and I ended up, it was a requirement to go to AA meetings, but I wasn't an alcoholic, I was an addict. So I went to AA meetings, but I introduced myself as an addict, excuse me. And I've had 2 relapses since I've been in recovery. I started in 2000. First relapse was my husband and I said that if we made it to our next anniversary, we would do this. And we were looking at 19 years then. At 21 years, we ended up going down to Mexico to celebrate our 20th anniversary. We were a little behind, but we did all right. It was a horrendous flight down. When I got off the plane, I walked straight into a pharmacia right in the lobby of the airport. And I made a deal with myself right then and there that if I did not go into any of the pharmacies, that I would allow myself to drink with my meals in the evening. And that's what I did for the week I was down there. And it worked out okay. And I was not going to tell anybody, nobody at all. But after a while, that darkness inside started to come back. And I started not to be able to look people in the eyes again because I was hiding a secret. And I also learned that I'm only as sick as my secrets. So after a while, I spoke with my sponsor and we decided that I would just go ahead, take some time off of my recovery, and introduce myself as an alcoholic. Because what I realized is when push comes to shove, I will drink. So I did that in my home group, and I did not realize how my introducing myself as an alcoholic affected them. As an addict. So when I introduced myself as an alcoholic for the first time, the whole room just erupted. It was like, she's finally arrived. Second time I relapsed, hubby and I had broken up because we couldn't live the way we were living anymore. And I had a safe place to go to, and I knew that the next time I saw him was to bury him. And so what ended up happening is the one thing I never thought would happen, because I'd been trying for 10 years to get him into AA. So when I left, he joined AA. The bastard. 6 months later, I relapsed because I did not expect him to ever be there. And I got to learn what YETS were all about then. And it stands for You're Eligible Too. And I lost my first job. And I lost my self-respect again. And I got to climb up. And each time I relapsed, I have a wonderful sponsor. She's been beside me for 18 years now. And she would brush me off and say, okay, Chris, get back up. You can do this. Go back. And I would. What's life like for me today? Today, my husband and I are looking at celebrating 38 years of marriage in January. He has coming up on 8 years of recovery. Officially, he now has 6 months more than I do. And he loves it. And we get to laugh about it, and it's okay. I have a grandson who loves us to pieces. He knows every time he comes over exactly what he's going to get us. I want to share one other thing. I almost forgot. When I was driving, my husband and I were driving down the Seward Highway shortly after I got into recovery, and I was thinking about the 12 steps. And 6 and 7 came into my mind, and 6 says we were entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character, and step 7 says we humbly asked him to remove. And I said, oh yeah, I'm ready. And please, please take these. And this weight lifted off of me that I didn't even know I was carrying. And for the first time I looked up and I looked out and I was able to see in color without drugs or alcohol. So that's what recovery has done for me. We have another grandchild on the way. Baby's due 420. My grandchild. Thank you all for being here tonight, and I just want to thank you for helping me celebrate my 59th birthday, which just happens to be this evening. So thank you.